Welcome to the Rocky Mountain AI Interest Group. The following presentation by Jason M. Allen took place at our May the 9th, 2023 meetup webinar that was entitled Creativity, AI Art, and Copyright. For future meetings, check out our meetup group and also our website at RMAIIG.org.
Pleased to introduce our next speaker, Jason Allen. He was the one I mentioned earlier in my little story about hiking with my friend.
Hey, Dan, you can hear me right?
Yeah, hear you great. Jason's a game designer from Pueblo who has used AI art tools such as Midjourney to create striking digital images. And he, as I mentioned earlier, won first place in the digital arts competition at the Colorado State Fair using AI-generated art, which received international media attention. More recently, he's leading a nationwide movement to spur change in U.S. copyright law after the U.S. Copyright Office rejected his copyright claim on AI-generated artwork. And yes, Jason, I did use your copyright notice when I used your artwork on our site, so I'm rooting for you here. He's going to speak about his AI art experiences and current battle to update U.S. copyright law in the new era of AI art. And I should say, as this battle continues, we will keep you guys posted. We will post updates to the group as this goes on, because it's an evolving story. Thank you, Jason.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dan. Hello, everybody. My name is Jason M. Allen. I'm currently live streaming on Twitch, Art Incarnate Inc. If you want to follow me on Twitch, this channel is going to end up becoming something, but lots of things going on, very busy. I'm going to do an introduction, then I'm going to talk about the copyright issues. Then I'm looking at my time here. I want to stay in the 20 minutes. I could talk about this forever. Honestly, this has been quite an adventure. So then I'll go into the essence of artistry and creativity as seen through the eyes and works of Alex Gray, actually one of my, what would you say? Inspirational artists that I look up to, I guess. I mean, he's a legend. Then I'll do a conclusion and maybe hint at some things. So yeah, I'm the founder and CEO of Incarnate Games Incorporated, and more recently the founder of Art Incarnate, staying kind of in the same vein, the incarnate idea. And yeah, as many of you already know, I was the guy that won the Colorado State Fair Fine Art Competition in the digital category using Théâtre de l'Opéra Spatial, which of course was created by me through a program called Midjourney, which is a AI-generated text-to-image platform through Discord. So I did a lot of help on Midjourney with, I was never a moderator on Midjourney, but so I contributed a lot to their documentation and stuff like that, kind of made an encyclopedia and resource guide for people to use in order to learn how to use the program. But then I went dark for about a month. And that's when I was imagining, like, I was in a hypnagogic state, sort of halfway in between sleep and dreaming, when I was imagining these women in Victorian dresses in space helmets. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. I've never seen that before. And I realized, oh, I could use Midjourney through all of my testing to sort of depict that and see that and visualize that. And that's that I incorporated that into my testing, and that became what we know as space opera theater today, or Théâtre de l'Opéra Spatial in French. So it created a really big controversy, and I was surprised at the level of attacks that I got. I was sometimes viciously attacked, actually, and I'm sorry, are you guys still there? Can you see me? Sorry, technical issues. But I was actually on a trip to Las Vegas when all of this blew up, and I was being interviewed by the New York Times, Washington Post, the Pueblo Chieftain, went worldwide, CNN, you name it. They interviewed me and was talking about this. Is this the death of artistry as we know it? And saying I'm not an artist and this is an artwork. But rather than rehashing all that, I'm sorry, just give me 1 second here. I was telling everybody that this might happen, and it did. I've been having some technical issues. I'm going to keep it brief. I want to stay within the 20 minutes, but I want to make sure that my viewers also are able to see this. So bear with me. I apologize. I hope you understand. So we're going to go into I'm just going to go right into the copyright issues rather than rehashing all the controversy and everything revolving around that. But what I have noticed in my experience is that artists, especially, there's a loud minority of vulnerable narcissistic artists out there who are vehemently against any kind of AI generated art, or I mean, they're creating like these pro AI, pro human art groups. In my opinion, anything that's anti-AI is just anti-art in general. The focus I want to really put on all of this is that AI is a tool, and that people are having the issue that I think people are struggling with is that they can't recognize that it's a tool. So if it's not a tool, what is it? It's not a person. It'll never be a person. AI is not a person. I think it's ironic that those who are against AI are the ones treating AI like a person. It doesn't matter how advanced AI ever becomes. It's not a person. Treating it like that is a mistake, and so it's kind of antithetical to the whole narrative that they're wanting to. Anyway, sorry. So here we have. So I registered Teatro de Opera Espacial at the end of last year for copyright registration around November, something like that. And it was rejected December 13th, 2022. I'm not going to read the whole letter, but it says, this is to my attorney. It says, we have decided that we cannot register this. Oh, and by the way, they knew who I was immediately. And my attorney said that typically a copyright claim registration is just a real quick 1-2 thing done, one exchange. There was a back and forth between us and the USCO 3 or 4 times because they knew who I was. They knew that I had used a new innovative tool called Midjourney to create the art the way that I chose to express myself creatively. Don't let anyone ever tell you how you can or cannot do your art. That's a shame. That's unethical in my mind. Sorry, I'm chasing tangents here. So they were asking me, what's the prompt? How much iteration did you do? All of these different things. And after, like a month of back and forth with this, because we paid for it to be expedited, they came back with this. We have decided that we cannot register this copyright claim because the deposit does not contain any human authorship. Instead, the deposit contains only material that your client solicited from an artificial intelligent art generator. So again, I want to stress this, that the issue is people are refusing to recognize that AI tech is a tool. Okay, and that's going to come into factor later. So we're in the process of reconsideration. Here's the whole 12-page document, sublime. My attorney is amazing. She's a rock star, Tamara Pester. She's in Denver. I'm not going to read or go over the entire request for reconsideration, but I will go over, I'm not going to be releasing this information until after we have some kind of resolution with the Copyright Office, but I am going to go over these highlights. So this is how we're responding to the Copyright Office in summary. The work should be registered due to the misapplication of the human authorship requirement. Mr. Allen's original contribution, AI tools being akin to other artist tools, improper factors considered by the examiner, and various public policy reasons. The refusal letter incorrectly claims that Mr. Allen's work doesn't meet the human authorship requirement under the Copyright Act. However, Mr. Allen's work involves human authorship, and the AI tool merely serving as an assisting instrument in creating his artistic vision. Copyright law focuses on the origin of the idea expressed, not the tools used in the creation process. AI-assisted artwork represents a new and innovative form of creative expression, and it should be eligible for the same protections as other creative works, such as traditional painting or sculpture. Alan contributed more than a trace of originality in creating his work, involving continuous interactions to direct the artwork's look and feel. Denying copyright protection based on the tool being used, that's important to discriminating against the tools, could set a discriminatory precedent to undermine the intent of the copyright protection, which is to safeguard the expression of creative ideas originating from human authors. Arguments against protecting AI-assisted works are analogous to challenges regarding the copyrightability of photographs. And Professor Anthony, he was awesome to show us the presentation and give us guidance through that area as well. And I mean, there's a lot of other things. The refusal letter appears to consider factors that contradict Section 310 of the compendium, such as aesthetic value. I mean, talking about what it's, how it's appearing, how it's being perceived, the artistic merit, my level of the author's effort or skill. These aren't factors that should impact the copyrightability of the work. So we're actually surprised that the examiner had done these things. Last thing to summarize our reconsideration, the value of art is subjective and determined by the market, and societal views on the use of AI tools should not influence whether or not work meets the requirements for copyright protection. So in light of all this, I just gotta move on to the next thing, which is the cover protest. So yeah, we are ready and able and prepared to go all the way to the Supreme Court with this, if need be. The cover protest is my way of demonstrating essentially that this is my work. Not only is it given rights by Midjourney, who says that we own and can use the work however we so choose, but also the fact that I made it. And cover stands for copyright obstruction, violates expressive rights. And if it's not my work, how is it that I am the only one that has access to it, so that when I publish it, I put this cover protest watermark in order to protect myself from people taking it and using it however they want? It's very interesting to take all these things into consideration when Occam's razor, you know, the most simple explanation is usually the right one. I made it. I'm the guy that made it. Or are we talking about the tools? Are you saying that, oh, it's because you couldn't draw it? Why didn't you draw it yourself? Why didn't you paint it yourself? That'd be like asking a cartoonist, why aren't you sculpting your cartoons? You know, it's because you can't. And it's like, these are apples and oranges. It's like you have no real way of having any say in how I want to express myself. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm just going off on these little tangents. I've spoken on this so many times. I feel like I have to cover everything, but I gotta stay in the interest of time. So after you can see my cover protest on artincarnate.com and go through everything that the statement and my joint statement with my attorney regarding all this. And then a week after that I started this protest, the Copyright Office came out with their guidance for works containing material generated by artificial intelligence policy. And I can't wait to sort of push back against this, because I want to make one little statement out of that quote. You can read it. It's like a 10-page document or something. But one statement that they use in there particularly is very telling, interesting. And it says, in the case of works containing AI-generated material, the office will consider whether the AI contributions are the result of mechanical reproduction or instead of an author's own original mental conception to which the author gave visible form. Okay, so what are you saying? And then they say the answer will depend on the circumstances, particularly how the AI tool operates and how it was used to create the final work. So this is a case-by-case inquiry. If a work's traditional elements of authorship were produced by a machine, the work lacks human authorship and the office won't register it. So let me just point out the argument against this, what they just said. Inconsistency within the policy. This is inconsistency. So the Copyright Office's policy allows for the registration of works containing both human authored and AI generated material if the human authored aspects meet standard for protection. This implies that the office acknowledges the potential for AI generated material to contribute to the creative process. However, by denying copyright protection to AI generated material itself, the office creates inconsistency within its own policy. The policy states that the office will consider whether the AI contributions are the result of mechanical reproduction or an author's own mental conception. How are they knowing what my mental conception is? How are they determining this? On a case-by-case basis as well. However, this distinction seems to be inconsistently applied, as some works with minimal human intervention, such as photography, are granted copyright protection. So I'm going to go over these points, counterpointing their guidance document. One, it's a misinterpretation of the law. The Copyright Office's policy relies on a narrow interpretation of the term authorship. However, the Copyright Act does not explicitly define author or authorship. Number two, flawed logic. The Copyright Office's argument that human authorship is essential for copyright protection is rooted in the belief that AI-generated content lacks the necessary creativity for copyright eligibility. However, this argument ignores the fact that AI systems are designed by human creators who imbue these systems with the ability to generate creative works. And we'll get to the prompt designers at the end. So this also contradicts with established works. Copyright Office policy contradicts the protection granted to photography, for example. Many photographs are the result of a mechanical process or involve minimal human intervention. Yet they're still eligible for copyright protection. No one's considering the camera as not an artistic tool anymore, like it was back in the day when philosophers were saying it was the death of portraiture art. So this inconsistency questions the rationale of the Copyright Office's decision to exclude AI-generated material from copyright protection. It's a violation of our expressive rights. Denying protection for AI works obstructs the expressive rights of creators who choose to use AI as a tool in their creative process. This could discourage creators from using AI as a tool, and this all builds up. This continues. It would discourage people from using it as a tool in their creative process, which would hinder innovation in the arts and prevent creators from exploring new forms of expression. 3 more points on this, then we're going to get into the Alex Gray thing. This is up and coming quickly. We're all noticing it. We're seeing it happen before our eyes. The indistinguishability of AI-generated work. As AI continues to advance, it is likely that AI-generated works will become indistinguishable from human-authored works. This will make it increasingly difficult to determine whether a creator has used AI tools in their creative process. Of course, this is an honor system. It's wrong to lie if you're using AI and you don't, they're requiring you to give that information, disclose that information, then okay. But the copyright's refusal to grant copyright protection to AI-generated works could lead to suspicion and skepticism surrounding all creative works, ultimately undermining the very foundation of the copyright system. Basically what I'm saying is this policy turns everybody into a suspect. Like, did you use AI? Did you use AI? Oh, this guy probably definitely, he was having a problem with that composition. And then, all of a sudden he jumps onto Diffusion or Midjourney and voila, he has, the perfect composition that he painted, but he used AI to do it. Is that AI? Like, who cares? Honestly, who cares what tool you're using? Why are we making these distinctions? I get real excited about this. Sorry. Like, how about we just acknowledge it as a tool and a new process, a new form of art? Why are we trying to put limits on art? I thought art was infinite. Now suddenly, we're putting all these labels and restrictions on it. Anyway, there's an arbitrary case-by-case evaluation, which we covered a little bit, but I don't want to spend too much more time on this. And the last point is the disregarding of the human creative input in the prompts. I love this one. The policy statement fails to adequately recognize the significant creative input that human users contribute when providing prompts to AI generative tools. They mention it, but they are completely dismissive of it. In our view, in the way that they responded to us and in the guidance. So crafting a suitable prompt often requires a deep understanding of the subject matter. And I've been saying this for a long time. The artists, traditional artists, they're really, really good at using AI generative tools because they know the language, they know they know the theory, they know composition, they know how to describe, they know the observations of art. They can create amazing pieces with this that says something to achieve the desired outcome. This creative input should be considered as a form of authorship, as the human user shapes the direction and purpose of the AI content. So I set out to create something beautiful, right? And if it's not something that's aesthetically pleasing to me, then I continue, I move forward. This is the process. This is me creating art. I don't consider myself an artist. I'm a designer. But I do want to focus on this last portion, which is a book study on the mission of art by Alex Gray, who is a legend, absolute amazing artist. I have his book right here, actually, to share with you guys. The Mission of Art by Alex Gray. I'm sure you recognize this type of artwork. Here's the back of the book, and to you guys too. So the mission of art is a thought-provoking exploration of the role of art in human evolution, spirituality, and transcendence. The book delves into the transformative power of art and its ability to connect us with higher states of consciousness. Here is a summary of the main messages and overall conclusions reached in the book. There's 5 points, and then I'll be done. Number one, and I'm gonna just preface, we're using this book study as a springboard or a platform or a mirror to reflect off of as it relates to AI generative art. Number one, art as a spiritual practice. Gray emphasizes that creating art is a spiritual practice that can lead to personal growth, healing, and self-discovery. He believes that art can be a channel for expressing the divine and exploring the mysteries of existence. Okay. I'm a latent space explorer. Hashtag latent space explorer. It's like I'm a miner out in latent space trying to discover something, and I'm digging through all of this, all of these different things using my prompts, and then finally I find a vein, right? Space opera theater, and I follow where that goes, and then I get that golden nugget. Whether you think I made this or not, it's irrelevant. Like, I have a claim to that golden nugget. It is mine, and I am the latent space explorer that discovered it. At the very least, in my opinion, I did create it. But if I didn't, fine. I have the claim to this golden nugget, right? I'm exploring the mysteries of the universe here. And I actually do believe that. And it is an exercise in self-discovery. I've learned a lot about myself through all of this adventure. Number two, the evolution of art. Gray traces the history of art, illustrating how it has evolved alongside human consciousness. The evolution of art. He highlights the importance of visionary art, which has the potential to inspire and awaken individuals to new levels of awareness and understanding. So yeah, that plays into what I was talking about just on the previous point, but this is a new way for us to express our vision into form, right? How art evolves with technology and with the human consciousness. And now it's like we're able to, it's like an imagination station where I can have something in my mind's eye, a vision, an expression, something that I want to convey to share with people. And I use AI to express that. And it's a very iterative until I find what it is that I'm looking for. I think that that fits in well with what he's talking about. Number 3, the transformative power of art. Gray argues that art can facilitate personal and collective transformation. By connecting with the creative process and engaging with the works of visionary artists, individuals can experience profound shifts in their consciousness and worldview. So, have we not seen that? There's a profound shift. I don't even really think I need to expand on that. This is a paradigm shift. I'm not saying that this is just business as usual, cope and move on. No, I mean, I do sympathize somewhat to the growing pains of having to go through this type of huge leap in technology. But isn't that the essence of technology, for us to continue moving forward, advancing, making things more efficient? Last point, or two more points. The role of the artist. The book underscores the importance of artists as spiritual and cultural leaders with the ability to inspire change and promote healing in a society. Gray encourages artists to cultivate their spiritual and creative potential to fulfill this vital role. And to reflect off of this, I want to share a quick story. When I first released Teatro de Espacial, I got all kinds of communications from people all over the world. And one had a significant impact on me over Discord, when a lady, actually it was a Facebook message, she said, you know, you can use this story if you want, but, you know, I'm not going to say who it was. But she said she had been going through a really hard time since her dad died. And she has a lot of really amazing memories with him, watching, you know, sci-fi movies and reading fantasy novels and sci-fi books and stuff like that with him. And she said she was in a really bad place. She said, seeing Teatro de Espacial was the first time that she had felt any happiness in the last 3 months, because it reminded her so much of being with her dad and that nostalgic feeling. And I feel like that the pareidolia of Teatro de Espacial does that for people. And I really appreciate that. She's, you know, you don't have to consider me an artist, but I certainly think that that fits into the purpose of art. Last point here. Techniques for creative development. Gray offers practical advice and exercises for artists to develop their skills and tap into their inner creative resources. Inner creative resources. So the conclusion to all of this, inner creative resources. Notice that the entire book study, Alex Gray isn't talking about which pencil you're using, which paintbrush you're using, which canvas you're putting this on, which camera you're clicking, which, you know, virtual reality space or laser or whatever AI that you're using to convey yourself and express yourself creatively. Not at all. This guy is transcendent on a level that I can only imagine wanting to achieve. And if he's coming across with saying that this is an internal, spiritual, mental, philosophical experience, and that's it, like, I don't think that it really matters how you choose to express yourself. If AI isn't a tool, please tell me, what is it?
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you joining us. It's a fascinating story. We can't wait to hear what happens next. It sounds like something is about to happen, but you haven't talked about it. So keep us posted on that.
Oh, sure. I mean, if I'm still on here, I forgot to conclude by, am I good?
Sure. Go ahead.
So yeah, visit artincarnate.com. That's my new company, or jasonmallen.com. You can sign up for updates. There's a big announcement coming up in the following month. Like, it's been a long, hard road, but we're finally there, and I'm working with a very well-known household name brand to do what they're calling a first of its kind, and I'm so excited. I cannot even express without completely making a fool of myself of how excited I am to share with everybody what we have
Awesome.
done. So
Awesome.
like, just keep updated.
Can't wait to hear. Thanks. Keep us posted.